Hey everyone, how's it going out there? This is Dolly coming at you, and today I'm going to be asking the question, what does it exactly mean to be normal? Or what is being average? Now when I think of trying to be, what society may dictate as normal, average, let me just throw myself into a hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm out and about and I'm meeting a new group of people. And of course, you probably start off with things like, hey, how's it going? My name is Donnelly. And then you might see where the conversation goes from there. But when trying to be normal, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean it's like keeping a straight face? If you're not sure what to say, not saying anything? Could it result in being known as that guy that's just like excessively quiet? It's like, does that guy speak? Or maybe you're one of those people that have the need to go out there and buy a book and learning how to tell jokes, how to be funny. But the problem with that is, if you're going out there and having to go read a book on how to tell jokes or how to be humorous, I kind of feel like that's kind of teaching, maybe not, but I feel like it's kind of trying to just, like, as they say, fake it till you make it. And the thing with trying to fake it is it can only last so long. The truth is eventually going to come out. And I'm terrible at faking it. Plus, I don't like doing it. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. And actually, trying to be as normal as possible or as average as possible actually makes my depression and loneliness worse. And so I know a lot of you are wondering, like, what is up with Donnelly and all his peppers? Why is he so obsessed with peppers? And it comes down to, like, it's a way for me to kind of come out of my skin and be funny. And there's even like a group out there that they call themselves chili heads. I mean, they have chili eating competitions. There's even channels devoted to hot peppers. So there is a niche community out there. And it's not just peppers. If you guys remember me from my old channel, you remember how I used to collect a bunch of balloons. And yes, I still do like balloons. It's just they can be kind of messy and filling up the entire room or whatever it may be. It can get a little messy, but yeah. Just like back then, there was like a balloon community, kind of like a small niche. So what I'm getting at is, and I want to try to see if I can pull this YouTube video I watched when it came down to like how to go out there and get yourself a girl. Because it did touch on the fact that sometimes when you try too hard to be average, you're just putting yourself in the mix of millions and millions of other average people. So a potential girl out there is just going to be like, what guy, which guy, has this or that. And it could result in coming down to materialistic possessions. Whereas if you just really let your true self come out, yeah, you might make a lot of people think you're weird, strange, but then you'll find these niche communities that will actually accept you. And so, yeah, we may have come a long ways in accepting various groups of people out there. But I think what we really need to start working on is accepting people who we deem weird, strange, different, goofy. Because in the end, it all comes out to whether or not that person has done any harm to anyone. If a person has never done any harm to anyone, then why be afraid of someone that's a little goofy? And the truth of the matter is, that is my natural nature. It's kind of being a little goofy. I just don't display it much, of course, because, like I'm saying, people may find it odd, strange, maybe even scary. Hence the one time I was like doing some balancing, kind of like dancing and doing some balancing exercises on like a railing at a local park. And I guess some mom called the cops on me because she thought I was high on drugs. And I felt really offended because I'm sure if I had been with another person, then it would have been a lot less likely. So I think there is a stigma towards people who are single, but then to those who are single, but maybe a little goofy, a little strange. But it's like, do I just settle in on trying to be average and hope for the best? Or do I let my true self come out and hopefully attract someone, whether it's a group of friends, a girlfriend, that sees me for not just what I own, what I do for a living, but sees me for my goofy side and my adventurous side. And no, I'm not gonna make this into another Pepper video. I'm just kind of saying that when dealing with depression as well, you have to come up with coping mechanisms. And when mental health care is not at its greatest most of the time, you have to look around. You got to get creative. And it's like, for me, it's like a form of self-medication. And it's like you experience that pain and burning, followed by that euphoric rush. It's like it's a form of medication. It gives me an adrenaline rush. And if I can combine it with, say, like doing something else, it just amplifies the effect. And so, yeah, sometimes you may have to kind of go again, kind of be like counterintuitive and think, okay, well, if I try to be normal, am I going to just make myself less and less of my natural self? Now, of course, it doesn't mean like going into a job interview and talking about all your quirks. That's going to throw people off. But I'm saying, like, when you're out like on the trail, or maybe you're in a bowling alley or whatever it may be, you can't be like trying so hard to just be simply average. And what else do I want to say? I know I keep saying the word and, but I'm also doing kind of a light jog, so it's kind of hard for me to sometimes making sure I'm not repeating certain words. But I really want to get this out there because I know a lot of you out there who may be watching are also suffering from your own personal demons, trying to figure out what can I do to maybe better fit in. And it's kind of a tough situation, but I find that in the end, until our mental health care system catches up and resources become more adequate, less expensive, we are in a great way left to our own defenses. Let's see, what else? So, what was I going to say? So I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, that as far as how I cope with depression, loneliness, and anxiety is, of course, their physical activity. Number 2 is they're doing like my programming sequel. And number 3 is my love for peppers and the spiciness of them. So that's how I deal with my depression. Just kind of want to make an honest video because I know some of you out there are like thinking, oh, what's happened to Donnelly? You know, what's going on with him? He's lost his authentic self. But really, I've actually had a love for peppers for actually a few years. And let me tell you a little background story as to how being goofy actually got me invited to college parties for like the first time in 25 years. Okay, so let's go back to when I was catering at Microsoft for this catering service. Not a very rewarding job, especially feeling inferiority, complexity, when you're delivering lunches to like all these high-level analysts, programmers. But let's leave that for another topic for another day. When it came to my coworkers, yes, there were some that just saw me like as overly strange, but most of them actually they liked my quirkiness. And when it came down to like a massive party we had, I remember I got pretty plastered, and I remember pretty much everything in detail about that night. And it resulted in me going home, with someone that wasn't drunk, because I didn't want to, I was drunk, so I was unfit to drive. And I ended up staying over at someone's house, and we ended up becoming friends. And then they started inviting me out to parties. And I met another guy, he was into snowboarding, we hung out a few times. Then I had another guy that he thought I was like overly strange. But then when he got to see like kind of, you know how like when you're drunk, your inhibitions come out? Well, he was like, man, you got to come over to some of our parties we're going to have at Central Washington University. And so that's one example. That same fall, while working at Target, once again, you know, I kind of let that, I bring out the natural goofy side of me, and I'm getting invited to like, hey, Harley, yeah, we need to hang out sometime. And yeah, this was, and the unfortunate part that this never panned out was I was moving back to North Carolina, which I was like, oh, because this was a girl who was actually inviting me to hang out with her and her friends and party with her, but I was actually I already was moving out. I was not really doing well with being able to come up with money for rent, so I had to go back east and be with my family. So what I want to say is that simply just trying to be average, trying to be normal, is kind of going against what my true personality is. And if I do that, I'm going to end up probably being super quiet, really boring to hang around. And that's just going to make me more lonely, more depressed. It's going to hurt me in developing any kind of network. So you got to sometimes kind of walk the line, take the risk, and just until we can become more accepting as a society towards individuals who may be deemed weird or strange. Just have to kind of take that risk and find our niche communities. And hopefully one day, just like just like we're working like accepting all these different groups out there, we can learn to one day accept people on an individual level. And when that happens, I can almost guarantee there will be minimal need for mental health. There will be reduction in substance abuse, because we will have learned to love everyone regardless of their ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, whatever else you can think of. When it comes out to accepting everyone at an individual level, regardless of quirks, the sky's the limit. Goodbye medication. Goodbye need for excessive mental health cover. Now that's my opinion, so feel free, guys, to let me know what you think and what I've done and explained in this video, and look forward to seeing what you guys say in the comments. I know I've never done this in one of my videos, and before I close out, actually I just had my midterm review at my job, and it was pretty stellar. And my manager even brought up, yeah, we really enjoy you and your peppers. So guys, it's all part of letting yourself come through. It actually, yeah, it's like, they're like, people find it funny. They're like, gosh, how does he do that? That is crazy. So, and plus it helps take the sting off of when you deal with those angry customers, that hotness and not bitterness, but flamingness in my mouth. And that euphoric rush takes away a lot of sting when you have to deal with those occasional brutal customers who will lash out on you. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. But it's all about this. We gotta learn to accept others at an individual level and just kind of be out there and be free, guys. Be free. Woo, yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be coming back at you guys with another video, hopefully sometime early next week. But until then, Godspeed.